But then right back to work yesterday, Vinny. We called it a half pads day. The shoulder pads were in, but the shorts were on. Anything stand out on the first day back after the first game?
A lot of teaching and a lot of ones and twos getting a lot of reps just because they're going to be the ones playing most of the reps on Wednesday, Thursday. Because listening to Jesse, what they like about having two practices instead of one. And I think Kevin O'Connell has done a lot of two, kind of what Jesse was talking about. And reason being they do two is like tomorrow will be like an hour and 45 minutes, good on good. And it'll be more the team type stuff, situation, first and tens, one-on-ones, DBs, one-on-one pass rush, one-on-one linebackers versus running backs, all that kind of stuff. And then Thursday, it'll be more red zone and that type of stuff. So it'll probably be a shorter practice on Wednesday, but there is a plan. It's not going to be the same thing both days in a row. So in like what Jesse was talking about is as long as they get better, because you're always asked about fights and, and that stuff and people getting upset. The only time that happens is if there's a cheap shot, or, it's hot, humid. I think it's only going to be like 80 degrees. I think it's going to be a nice day tomorrow in Minneapolis or St. Paul. So I think we'll be fine there. But, it's going to be two competitive teams. And, I said yesterday, Hawkins is my guy, man. I mean, he's the one that needs Zay in the thigh and knocked Bateman out. And, so I could see that. But, the thing is after Thursday's practice, you want to say we got better. That's the biggest thing is, and I think the thing is for the Ravens, the O-line is going to be the key. Can they block the Vikings pass rushers? Can they, run the ball on them successfully? So I'm kind of anxious to see there how that goes. I think there are going to be some struggles. There's definitely going to be some struggles offensively and defensively because the Vikings, you look at their receiving core. They're damn good.
Oh, yeah.
So this is going to be a very good, matchup. And I'm guessing Wiggins is going to say, I want Jefferson, so it's going to be fun because like I said, there is talent on both sides and we're going to see two different things. So, like I know you asked me yesterday and I says, one day I'd watch the offense, the other day I can't really do that just because, I'm going to have to kind of work. I love watching the one-on-ones, so, but the problem is when the O-line, D-line goes one-on-one, it's Pascal for the offense, right. So that's, which one do you want to watch, Like, if you're working for the team, it's easy. Like, I remember me and Dwight Clark, whenever we would watch the one-on, we'd go watch the one-on-ones every day in practice because you can go in and watch the film in a 7-on-7, but I don't have the opportunity to do that, so you got to pick and choose. It's going to be interesting. But Thursday, Nolan, what's going to be interesting to see is Jacoby Lane to work in a lot of red zone.
Yes.
That's what's going to be, is the timing better than it has been in the practices? Because in the they have not connected yet. So, get a lot of red zone work. And, we're going to have a lot of special teams work in there too. So we'll get a chance to see Eckley and we'll get a chance to see the Loopster. And, I don't really know, it's not there's not going to be any game-like types. They're going to be rushing and doing that, but there's not fans. There's not pressure.
That's what I was going to think. Just being away from your facility, I don't know. You're the guest there. It's not really it's a competitive environment, but I see what you're saying. It's like if Loop goes out there to line up for a kick, how's that going to prepare him, that setting, for 75,000 screaming people in Pittsburgh or whatever.
Right.
So
right. And here's the thing that is going to be good for the Loopster is Saturday it's indoors in a dome, and the opening game is in Indy in a dome. So, he'll get kind of a feel for that environment for what he's going to have in the opener, which I think is good.
Another aspect of this that I'm very intrigued by is that all these years during the Lamar Jackson era, there's been very few defensive coordinators or opposing coaches that get credit for being a Lamar, like having the code to crack Lamar, basically. And Brian Flores is one of them. Now, last year, Lamar played pretty well against Minnesota. It was a narrative going in, but you remember a couple years back, the infamous Miami Dolphins game where they were zero blitzing him to hell. That was a case in point of success. I think what the Chiefs have done over the years, Spagnola's kind of had his number at times, and then the Browns have had some good stuff. But other than that, there haven't been many people that have really had a good game plan for Lamar. So to bring that to a practice setting where the emphasis for both teams is on getting better, I'm very excited by that. What can Brian Flores show this Declan Doyle and this new look Ravens offense, some things they haven't seen?
Well, yeah, and which is going to be a lot. The thing that will hurt Lamar a little bit in this kind of setting, Nolan, compared to a game is you can't make the scramble, because it's going to blow the whistle. So there's not going to be any of those type of scramble type plays, because they're not going to be hitting Lamar, so when coverage breaks down, it's going to be whistle, stop the play. So that'll affect Lamar a little bit just because of, you look at like Chicago, Caleb Williams made how many plays, especially early in the year, just scrambling around and throwing the ball up, because Lamar does have the ability to do that. Plus, he's got receivers that can do that now. So another one that I want to look a lot at too, Nolan, is Bateman. Now, Bate went to University of Minnesota, so he should like being back up there. But Bate's got to have a good 2 days, and I think that would be good in the one-on-ones and make some plays, in the two practices. Be a guy that we're talking about, Nolan, like offensively in the two practices. Like when we're done on Thursday, who are we going to be talking about? That to me is going to kind of be like, yep, he really stepped it up. It's not going to be a running back because you can't tackle. So like what skill guy is the guy that, because we've been talking about Jacoby Lane for 3 weeks.
Right.
Is it going to, hey, if it's him again, that'd be great. Who's it going to be? Who's that guy that's going to flash and make those kind of plays?
Yeah, I was trying to think if there's nobody that hasn't really showed up to the party yet, but you're this deep into training camp, we're talking about it being over next week.
Yeah.
So, the Jacoby Lane thing, maybe it is just him, and we'll take more of that for sure. But at this point, I don't know if I'm really waiting on anybody who hasn't showed up yet for at least one moment in time, but it's been definitely the Jacoby Lane show. And nothing's really going to change that.
I think Zay is going to, because Zay really hadn't had that opportunity, to be involved or Jacoby is, because when Zay makes, like 5 catches in a drive, just what Zay does, people, it's not like, wow, where Jacoby Lane is that guy in training camp right now. And when Zay's making plays, it's just like, yeah, it's what he always does,